What exactly is the quantum threat to Bitcoin? We're going to go over that exact question for you in simple terms so that when you leave this episode, you're going to have a better understanding of what the quantum threat actually is. Everything from asymmetric cryptography all the way to understanding how a Bitcoin transaction takes place from sender to receiver and much more. So let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Quantum Resistant Ledger channel, the place where you come for the crypto and stay for the quantum. Today's episode is the first part of a series where we are going to be discussing what exactly is the quantum threat to Bitcoin. So we're going to dive right into it and cover that for you in this first part of an episode. With me is our Director of Outreach at the QRL, Michael Strike. Michael, it's great to have you with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's dive right into this topic of what exactly is the quantum threat to Bitcoin. Michael, can you cover on a high level? Can you give us an idea if I'm trying? We transact in crypto, sending to and from, whether it's a lot or a little, but we don't always know what's going on the underlying level of that. Can you give us a little bit of understanding on that so we can better grasp it? And I know there's probably a few parts into that as well, but can you cover that for us?
Sure. So the most important thing to understand when we're talking about the quantum threat is how Bitcoin, the signing of transactions works and how addressing works. So this is actually pretty simple. There's different addressing schemes that are available in Bitcoin, like pay to public key hash. There's pay to public script. I'm going to just pick the most simple one. And because it was the first one and it's the most relevant. A Bitcoin address is simply a 256-bit random number. That's the private address. The private address is 256 bits. It's just chosen randomly or pseudo randomly for the purists, right? And that is your private key, okay? Now, in order to get the public key that could be shared to someone else, in order for them to send you a payment, you take that 256-bit pseudo-randomly generated number, and then you apply elliptical curve multiplication. Once you apply elliptical curve multiplication, you end up with your public key. So this public key can be used for someone else to send you funds. They can perform what's called a transaction output, and they will send to your public key, and those funds will sit there waiting for you to claim them and do something with them. The only thing I want to cover first off is that those three steps: 256-bit random number, that's your private key; elliptical curve multiplication, and then you end up at your public key. And that's basically the most simplest key chain. And that function between going from that private key to that public key, it's a one-way function. There's no classical way to take a public and make it back into a private. But that's where we're going to that's where we're going to talk about the quantum aspect.
Thank you for explaining that, Michael. Helps break it down. For those of you watching, we've covered the addressing in this first video, and the next part of this series of what is the quantum threat to Bitcoin, we're going to be covering Shor's algorithm and the quantum threat. Look forward to this next video upcoming, and we're going to dive more into this topic in this video series. Have a great rest of the day, and we will see you in the next episode.